Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, May 8th, 2021, Saturday. Thank you very much for joining me anytime. Title of this talk is Civil Field Engineering, COVID-19 Designs, Construction Methods, Contacts and Accesses, Organizations, Communications, Coordinations, and Miscellaneous all quality. And also start with COVID-19, a problematic issue currently in our country, Bharat, India. COVID-19, as you all know, we Bharat, India people have been passing through this impactable phase, adverse phase onto our nation. There was a time when we were not very critical, but now we are under most critical state of COVID-19 because of our population and because of our severe carelessness. Whole world knows that we are careless nation, careless people. We never had any degree of seriousness. We have been a sleeping society, and I don't find any degree of shame in speaking that. Because if we don't speak facts, we don't realize problems, we cannot solve problems. That's also true. We must solve problems. If we want to solve problems, there are so many ways. And problems, if we want to hide, solutions shall not come to us. We should understand this point. If we want to find solutions, we should know what problem is, and that is called, that process to know what problem is called analysis. As I usually relate it to quality, and that is analysis, which is a part of solution. In engineering, we do analysis, and analysis is root of every solution. If we don't value analysis, we cannot find solutions in engineering. If we do not understand analysis, then I cannot call myself engineer, because analysis is linked to work of mind. Analysis is linked to power of mind, credibility of mind, concentration of mind, concern of mind, and use of mind ultimately. And if one can use mind to full requirement, I can say that it's called credibility of mind and credibility of person itself. Working without mind, I call that person not a person but just a body. If I don't use mind, I can call that I'm not a person. Person means what? If I say person, P-E-R-S-O-N, per is one word, son in another one. Per means what? I consider per here Parameshwar, Ishwar. Son means boy or girl. So if God made me, in fact, if God made me, then I have to use my mind. Yes, God makes everybody, but full making is done by God for human being. And if you are intelligent human being, if you are very well educated human being, this means your mind has been tested for efficiency. Education tells that you are efficient or not efficient. Of course, it gives degrees in some title, but ultimate declaration means that your mind is workable. Your mind can think, your mind can analyze. So that is where I can say, if understanding quality of mind, I would say, if somebody asks me what is quality of mind, what is quality of a person, I would simply say quality of person means performance of a person, what method person uses, what time it takes, cost and risk how are involved, reliability of a person, and that all depends on analysis of that. So I can say that analysis is something we can relate to working out solutions of whatever problems we face in life. COVID-19 is a problem whole world has been facing, and world has been facing this problem, and to some extent word confronted, though there is no use of confrontation here, because if we say confronting means, we should say rather we are not confronting, we are adjusting, rather say we are protecting ourselves. We may say that it's not confrontation, it is defense. Confrontation can be done by a known enemy or known party. Forget enemy, we can say party to our problem. To our problem, first of all, we ourselves, I am party to myself, and there's another party which we name COVID-19. That party doesn't know whether it's COVID-19 or something else. That party is always hidden, and we do not know identification of that party. We can only assume. This may be physical, biological, or this may be spiritual. I cannot say because I am not from that field. Let us say it is not spiritual, it is biological, or it is materialistic. Even then we should know about this. I don't know why everybody calls we have to fight. Okay, fighting is fine, but we have to defeat, or we have to be victorious over this. We have to defeat COVID-19. COVID-19 shall be defeated only when we concentrate ourselves. Defeat doesn't mean we have to kill it. This is infection, we know. Maybe it is infection, not, I can't say, but it is infection. Old world is there. We can defeat it only when we can train ourselves. Our bodies, our minds, our concentration, our determination. But what's happening? We are running away from this. Running away in a sense that some call it break circuit, some call it close yourself, shut down, lockdown, some call it something. We think that if we lock down or if we shut down, this can be handled. You think COVID-19 is that stupid? Is it? A COVID-19, we name it, and this COVID-19 is this COVID-19 baby which came to us in 2019. Do we think that it doesn't know about us? It knows about us. It knows very well what humans are. And it's so much powerful that if you think of defeating it, we are on the wrong track. We can't defeat it until we know what it is strength, what is origin, how it works. We have only observations and experiences without seeing this. I'm not expert in this subject. I can only say by thinking that rather than speaking we want to defeat it, we should say we want to protect ourselves. Let it be there. We want to move not in confrontation but in loss prevention. Self-protection, which is best one. But when it comes to a line above which medicines are required, all protections are required, all hospitalization is required, if we cross that stage, it causes major problem. We know currently whole world infections, out of those we are having a half nearly, and we also know that we are short of so many things. We are in India, Bharat, we are having about 10,000 or more daily casualties, fatalities. Announcement is around 4,000, but forget announcement. Fact remains that only those who are given death certificates from hospitals, they are considered COVID, but there are people who are at home who die, and there are people who are not admitted into hospitals. So what about them? I think equal or double they are in numbers. Let us forget double, let us say 2.5 times. They may be 10,000 day or more. Let us take that figure, 10,000 day. If it's 10,000 figure that we lose every day of a human being, this means every month we will use 300,000 or 3 lakh persons every month. 3 lakh if every month, in 6 months it shall be 18 lakhs. It is considerable one. It is 10,000. It may increase. And then we say that loss of is a loss. And what about cases? They say that about yesterday's news, this was on 7th May 2021, 4.14 or 4.15 lakhs, 415,000 cases, infections, and before that also approximately same figure. So we are moving in sequence or in series of 400,000. If this continues, maybe a little less sometimes, some more sometimes, doesn't matter. I have seen in my dream 650,000 also there. So if it goes on increasing, this means we are not going to defeat, we are not going to understand it. That's major point. We have seen our cremation grounds. Every day we watch videos. Cremation grounds, people inform that if suppose there were 10 dead bodies cremated every day before COVID-19, now it is 120. In Delhi, there was one interview with one person who said 10 goes to 120. This means 12 times dead bodies are cremated. What does it mean? It means fatality rates are much more than is being declared. And also I consider, as I said yesterday, about 1 million or more people contract COVID every day, and which may increase. It may not be announced. They are saying only 0.4 million, but I say forget them. Let us say 1 million. If 1 million, this means 30 million in one month. 30 million in 1 month. 3 crores. 3 crores in 1 month and 18 crores in 6 months. I am keeping this at 1 million. It may be 1.5 million. Could be. I can't say. But my point of statement is not to worry you, not to concern you, but facts must be known. In engineering, if we do not know facts, if we avoid facts, we cannot find solutions. And engineering says you have to find solution. Engineer is considered to be solution provider. There is always a problem, and that problem must be studied, and that study is called analysis. And then when you know analysis, that analysis gives some answer, or you have to find some answer based on that analysis, which is called solution or resolution. Those solutions, every analysis gives you 1 or 2 solutions or 3 solutions possibly, or options it gives. So when we have certain options, we have to find different options for different analysis, and those are called answers or responses or synthesis. We have to connect all. That's what I say in our quality statement. That's the most important statement of quality. As I usually said that quality is that it's called, we have to calculate risk, we have to calculate cost, we have to calculate design, means we have to understand what is design, and design means if analysis exists, design exists. If analysis doesn't exist, design also doesn't exist. That is basic, you can say, very basic understanding of an engineering. So if I take it from engineering viewpoint, if I take this COVID issue from engineering viewpoint, which we must, because I don't understand why engineers in this country do not realize this fact. Health, safety and environment are our chapters, our subjects. Of course it is medical subjects also, but we too have to handle this for our workers, for our sites, for our projects. Means if we are not healthy, our workers are not healthy, they are not safe, they are impacted by hazards of environment. How can we expect them work? Of course we are second to doctors in this case. Health, safety and environment, doctors number 1. They are experts of health, they are experts of safety, and we are second to them. Just means we take care of our people. If I suppose 500 people on my site, say example, I'm supposed to take their care as a manager or organizer or engineer. It's my duty. It doesn't mean that I'm a doctor. It means that I'm taught something about safety, about health, and that knowledge, which is superficial one of course, but question here is not of the details. Question is, at least you should know how to start health, how to start help to people. And that's where we are trained. We are trained superficially every time, and we are refreshed. Means we are taught introduction, induction, then different kind of classes for various activities, from low rise to high rise, how to act within fire, when there is fire what to do, when there is sunstroke for someone what to do, and how to teach people, how to use all this. Means whatever is required in our engineering, you can say health, safety and environment is very important for us. It's not now, it was before also, but now it is a proper name, health, safety or safety, health, environment. And I think when it is for our site people, and whole world is site now, we can say whole world is site. Let's consider our country also as site, and there are millions of engineers. And I think it's not only civil engineer, all other engineers know this, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, automobile engineers. Engineering is a teaching line for health protection, health care, not health treatment, just to avoid impact of health onto ourselves, including ourselves, I mean staff and everyone. This point we have to understand. So using that responsibility, pulling that responsibility into field of COVID-19 impacts everybody. Projects have been closed, economy has been closed, everything has been closed. Yes, that's closed, that was closed before also. But where is solution? Question is this. Is closure an answer? How long close? And it says but that closing is not giving very much good results. All countries in the world have gone against lockdown. Means they started with standards, but later on economy is suffering, people are suffering. So either they suffer from COVID-19 or they suffer because of economic loss. It's one and same thing. So we have to consider this issue very well. Means say loss prevention or planning is one part. COVID-19 now our people say they didn't know what this is all wrong. You didn't know. How can even a primary student can tell you knew it? It's not something new. If 50% infections we are having in our country, India, how can we say we didn't know it? We were impacted last year in 2020, and we thought it's so easy. We thought it is so easy that by playing with instruments, playing with some pots, we can release it or we can push it out. This innocent people we are, or I don't understand, confused society we are. Why don't we link ourselves to science, to engineering, rather than linking to orthodoxism? Are we blind people mentally? When it rains, you can use umbrella, but that doesn't stop rain. That could stop water falling onto your shirt or your head. But even your legs are impacted, your feet are impacted, and it's waterlogged area due to rain or flood. Even your umbrella won't do anything. Your umbrella won't do anything if it's angle rain, I mean to say thunderstorm, or it's 45 degrees rain in either direction. Even your umbrella cannot stop you. It can only protect you within certain conditions. So that same thing, we did not care for what we should have done. We should care for what we care for. All. I don't want to repeat that. It's we are such a society that doesn't analyze anything. Whatever some stupid person says, we accept that. That is really nonsense. Means a country of knowledge. Means I think we are only country in the world which is called knowledge society. Millions of doctors and millions of engineers and millions of all other professionals. There is no dearth of educated people in our country. Communities are there educated, but unfortunately I don't know. People are educated only by certificates, or they are having courage to take care of themselves. We are society who are not encouraged by ourselves. Means education is only for certification or only to hunt for jobs, not for application in society. If I can't apply my engineering knowledge to think of them, there's no meaning of my knowledge. So when I say there is COVID-19 and people are suffering, we should know how to help them. What should be done? Why did we not do? Why did we not speak in time? Why are we slaves to politicians? We should not be slaves to politicians. We should be slaves to our knowledge. We should be friends of our society. But those are not exhibited. Doctors and nurses and medical staff, all health workers, I think they are given credit. There are issues, but whatever it is, this is their profession, their job. Same thing happens to us when we are on project. We are on project. We find so much pressure of work, and we don't run away from there. We enjoy it. Of course, we should get food in time. We should get good sleep, if not whole sound sleep, at least some sleep. But that is basic requirement. I have seen doctors and nurses. They don't have time to sleep. They don't have time to eat, and many of them have died because of COVID, and many are upset. Of course, there's reason to be upset because doctor alone cannot do anything. If so many deaths happen, people die in their presence, and they are not able to save them because of lack of facilities. This means I can say if our government could not plan it, I can only say that government doesn't exist. And this is very cruel statement I'm making, very serious statement making. We don't want government to exist physically. We don't want to see ministers are available, or PM is available, or president is available. Availability is not a question. Question is performance. Performance that I include in my quality talk. Performance is very important. That's here, performance. Performance is, you can say, here, performance. When we say performance, there is a big question mark. If I cannot perform, why I call myself performer? It's not imagination. Performance is not imagination. It is not stage performance. It is achievement performance. What we have to achieve. What percentage of our plan we achieve? That's question. It's not film star presentation. It's not film star imaginary performance. It's a question of life and death. It's a question of life and death. So if physically their existence of people and they do not work, they sleep, or they don't take serious these issues, what shall happen to people? What shall happen to poor? Question is why I am raising this. What about poor? Because poor are most prone to impacts. A middle class person to some extent can afford, and those who are in higher profiles, there's no worry, they can pay money to buy treatment, I should say, rather than get treatment, because they have a thought, they have a conception that they can buy everything. Her question is, if we as a nation cannot provide medicine, or we can't plan that is schedule exists, we can't provide oxygen to all patients who require it, we don't have good hospitals with beds, and we don't have, in addition to medicines, oxygen, hospitals, bed, we are short of doctors, we are short of nurses, we are short of ventilators, and we are not able to handle these. There's no meaning in talking at length about this, but it's everyday problem. Means why it is everyday problem? This means there has been no work on plans. There has been nothing as such. So that's very serious point. If I heard doctor committed suicide. I heard journalists committed suicide because they knew doctors are not happy to see patient die due to shortage of oxygen or due to some other reason. Doctors cannot see a patient die there because doctor is not there to look after patient to die. Doctor is there to save patient from death. How can doctors save if facilities do not exist? That's my point. I'm not blaming anybody because blame game is not my analysis here. Analysis is how to protect. Now people have to protect themselves to some extent. Lockdown or no lockdown, I think it doesn't work at this moment. This problem is out of control, and once you find something out of control, you have to try to bring back into controls, and that is only that people have to take care. Lockdown will not work because lockdown is no solution at this stage. Okay, you may feel happy, you will lockdown. Even after many states in our country have been conducting lockdown, yet yet cases are rising, deaths as well as infections. Every every information says that is rising. This means lockdown is not successful. Well, I'm not going to say against someone. Whatever is to be done is to be done. That's part of life, and we have to tolerate it. But is it permanent solution? That is the point. It's not permanent solution. We must have planned. Many times I have written in my postings. Maybe I am very small person. People don't want to value me. No problem. I am very small person. Only engineer. They want to see writings by some author, some big person on papers, or some experts, or they want international advices. I think hundreds times, I can say many hundreds times, I have written on posts that there is no schedule for testing, there is no schedule for vaccination. Why there has been no schedule? That is point number one. This is a point to be analyzed. What our forget government, what our nation does. Why our people do not think about this? Why I am not tested? Till now, nobody came to me for test. It doesn't mean I can't test myself, but question is, what is duty of state? That's the point. Whole Gulf countries tested their people, foreigners on their own. They tested. It's duty of a state to know who is a patient or probably who could be a patient, so that earlier action can be taken for its relief. And that's what schedule should be. How many doctors should we have? How many nurses should we have in such calamity time, in such pandemics time, that we don't have any program. We don't have any program about how many months shall it take for testing. According to speed on which it's going, it's more than 3 years required for testing. And I cannot say anything for vaccination because there is no set information about vaccination. Just 12% according to population vaccinations have been done in both stages. There is no clear data about how many actual persons have been vaccinated, but if it is 12%, you can say, if you take both cases, then only 6% in case 1 and case 2, phase 1 and phase 2. If 6% people only have been infected in one way, you can say in one case, or even to 12%, means where do we stand? That point is very important. We have to consider, and if we don't consider, means we cheat ourselves. So my question is cremation grounds and infections. Cremation ground has become another source of environmental pollution because it's not dead bodies now. It's look like rubbish, garbage that they are burning. Means orthodoxism, paroxysm that used to stay behind cremation has gone. People are being brought like garbage, like rubbish, like kebab, and they are being burned. This is happening. Nobody expected this type of, you can say, harsh treatment towards dead bodies. It's happening. This is also a fact. You can't say anything about that. That's why I would only say to everyone that create quality in COVID also. I have seen people, of course there is an increase in using mask indeed. A mask is one point we should go use, and you can use glasses also. But problem is that children and youth, both are careless. I see them while walking, that youth, they are enjoying, they don't care. And of course you can't blame kids who are school going kids or not even school going. They can't understand anything. But it's our duty as engineers, even if you see someone, that we have to suggest that one, do it. And we have to do our duty. If even people use masks and goggles, I think it will be much better than not doing something else. This is the least protective one. And of course we should avoid going to all those places where there are chances of gathering, there are chances of crowd, and that must be avoided. I don't think closure of shops will help it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let them do what they can do. And I did not find any expert who can comprehensively answer these questions. Means something is based on experience, something is based on observation. We are finding rising cases. If that's a truth, you cannot deny this fact. Maybe 400,000 to 1,500, 4 lakhs to 15 lakhs, there are rising cases every day. We are short of medicines, we are short of oxygen, we are short of hospitals, we are short of bed. And there is some sanity, even if you are getting, say, some help from Saudi Arabia or some other country, there are certain bad people in our society. For example, the Reliance. On that flight, he puts his own plate, own identity. What does it mean? This is complete criminalization for us. If some country is helping you, you put your name on that. How can government accept like this? I don't understand. This is called criminal action. Well, I'm just trying to say that. Now I move on to, you can say, onto our daily talk. I close this certificate. We have C certificate, we have this certificate, and many of us have certificates. CE, Chartered Engineer certificate, this membership, that is fellow member certificate, and this fellow is very senior position, and this is ultimate certificate in institution, and there is professional engineer certificate. After having such certificates, if we cannot think of, then I should curse myself. That how can I not think of about this. Now I was talking about, let's go back to engineering talk as well, pure engineering talk. This was COVID engineering, I'm including this in my title because I like it. It's our field, I consider. And this, we talked about this construction controls, we talked about this mobilization, and we talked about all these materials. This is very important for us. Manpower, workforce, procurement, we talked of, and physical construction contract, etc. Then we talked of construction project management, and all this we talked of. And these are very important points we have to refer to. In this, and we can say that after all, when we do construction, you think it's routine. No, I don't think so. It's very much specific. Very specific in a sense that everything is new. When we do construction in civil, at least, or for facilities, or on buildings, or on structures, we have to first produce drawings, design drawings. Means what we are going to construct. You all know, in our language we call them plans, or some people call them nakshas, whatever. We should have complete set of working drawings, or design drawings, or schematic drawings. There is complete contract documentation, which documents which are contract itself, and you can say past contract or pre-contract documents. And there are always certain sets of specifications, which could be called, and before specification, I should say contract itself, general conditions of contract, and before general conditions, particular conditions of contract. You can see this way, hierarchy is like that. Contract itself, and before contract is particular conditions, and before that is general conditions, and then we can see there are project specifications, general specifications, and then we have to come to drawings and BOQs, like that. This is hierarchy, we call them. Contract starts with main document, on which party 1 and party 2, or if there is some other party, they sign, they execute that document, taking responsibility of that project to an extent construction is concerned. That's very important definition, you can say. It's not simply contract, it is documented based contract. It's not agreement between two parties, but agreement based on whole documentation, whole references. And that's the reason that every contract of EPC or C, or if I can say EPC, project EPC, or you can say EPC means package contract. It's called engineering procurement construction, or engineering procurement installation and construction. That type of work or that type of contract and construction contract itself, both are based on certain documentations, not imagination. It's not bus ticket or train ticket or flight ticket, but just you are given one page and everything is bound. It's something which is written. Contract documents, when you call this, is complete contract. Actually, you can say not only contract form, it's complete contract or hierarchy as I gave to you. And in addition to that, also there are certain documents which would continuously to be integrated part of contract, like like you can say schedule, or you can say submissions. When you make certain submissions, for example, material submission for approval means what material. Generally, a practice that when you are given tender or bid, there are certain certain specifications. Sometimes list of materials that you have, this list of material, and keeping abreast what is given in this list of materials, you have to select, you have to propose which material you want to include on this project. That's very important point. I'm just telling you based on my experience and not because of this writing. Construction itself is whole series, whole sequences of acts or activities which are not written somewhere. Written, of course, in technical word, but in common it's not written. Contract is a sphere. Contract itself, construction contract or EPC, is a sphere which you have to understand. Without contract, practically speaking, nothing can happen. It may be small job or big job, or it's very petty job, whatever it is. From small job to middle level job to very big project, mega project. Contract and contracts dominate because contract results in many contracts. When we have project of one contract, that owner who is employer in case of projects, that employer selects one party, one contracting party, and that contracted party is called contractor. Contractor relation exists there. Contracting relation exists there between employer and contractor. We have to understand this point. There is a document which is called contract, and that document is signed by both parties, party 1 and party 2. Party 1 is employer who is responsible for funding and who is responsible for this project as a whole, from financial aspect, from all other aspect, because that person is either has to approve that, has to operate that project in future, operate that plant in future, or sell this product of housing or use themselves. So that contract is main one, and that is prime contract that is executed and agreed between two parties, party 1 being employer and party 2 being contractor, and that is called party 1 is contracting party 1, other one is party 2 contracting party 2. Contracting party 1 is known as employer or owner or promoter, or you can call by whatever name, and party 2, that is work person to do that work. That party 2 is called contractor. So this relation exists, though both are contractor. In fact, what we generally call contractor, we refer to as a party that works for employer, is called contractor. So there's party 1 employer, party 2 contractor. This is main function, and both have to move together. If either falls, means project is hampered, project is jeopardized. It is duty of employer to arrange funding for project so that contractor can be paid, and it is duty of contractor to get money. It's right of contractor to get money and invest in job, so that this employment, job, when I say job, is contract, project. This project is completed, and this is top one. And there are so many vendors, so many parties in lower level of this contracting. That profile is called subcontractor. There would be 50 subcontractors somewhere. There will be 30 subcontractors. There's no limit. It depends on what type of contract you have, what types of work you have. You have structural work, you have architectural work, you have finishes work, you have services works, and you have security works. You have many works, many disciplines, and are all are there in one company cannot do them. All the source expertise are not available in one organization. So we have to think about this. Means there are maybe 50, 60, 100 or less subcontracts or sub-vendors, either in form of work or in form of just supply, service providing. We have to understand these points as far as titling or entitling of contract and definition of contract is concerned. We have to think our own definition and not to claim what's given by some book or somewhere else. It's very easy definition that there are certain documents, contract documents, high profile, there is certain tender, bid, there is certain offer, and there are certain, you can say plans regarding how to work. There are plans, schedules, everything is done. Complete structure is given how to move this project. That structure is available in writing. And all such documents speak together mutually. We work together with them, just like we work together with all information do we have. That's very important point in construction. So physical construction I talk of, it's all done at end. These all are done at delivery stage. And when it's delivery stage means it is workable, it is over, and all this delivery has been not because of what I wanted or what did we want. It's because of what contract ordered, what contract required. That's important point. So we can say construction, project management, physical construction is not that easy as we think it is. It takes a lot of weight, a lot of load with this. And physical means really physical. Physical means product, means seen product, delivered project. It's not theory of structure, imaginary. No. It's not scheme, imaginary scheme on papers. It is existence of work, production of works. Believe me, when you plan something, sitting in room on computer, it looks very beautiful. Oh, see, I have done this planning. See my bar chart, G chart, MAT chart, see my NAT chart, see my CPM. You can say, oh, what a color, how much it win. But my follow-up is different. For me, color is not important. Contents are important. Color is not important for me because I am not living for color. I am living for something else. And that something else is construction. Construction phase is temporary. It's not permanent. You cannot find construction permanently at one point, at one site. It may be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or whatever duration. One day it has to start and other day it has to stop. Start date and stop date, gap between two dates is called contract duration. Duration of contract. That is fixed. It's not calculated, it's fixed. At time of contract, at time of tender declaration, tender notification, it becomes a part of contract data. And contract data is very important point. Contract data, when we say contract data, is a brief statement. It's not contract documents. I'm not saying that. Contract data is so specific that it tells you on one page aftermaths of delay, aftermaths of slow work, aftermaths of failure to achieve targets in time. And this is very important that there's cost of project which is involved in this, or cost of your bid, what price did you claim, agreed price by both parties. And then there is, you can say, dates written there, date of start or date of commencement, and date of handover completion. Generally completion is important, and what is your maintenance period, after completion. You have to maintain it. That maintenance period is also very important. And there are conditions like that. What about insurances, and what about all that? Or you can say, what is about insurance of third party for workers, for staff, and many other issues which people say these are not engineering issues, but I say engineering issue or no engineering issue, these are issues. These are matters which cost financially on everyone. This point we should plainly understand. If we fail to understand this point, I think we fail ourselves. So construction is based on documents, but not exactly what documents say. It's based on procedures, it's based on thoughts, it's based on technical action, technical requirement. This point we should be clear of. We cannot simply play with blames or games. Oh no, it's this. So construction is, mobilization is also a part of construction, but it's temporary construction. As we discussed mobilization, we discussed stages of works, we discussed procurement of materials and procurement of human resources and procurement of machines or equipment. We discussed procedures of construction, many methods, and still we continue to discuss. This is also one of them. And we discussed about how we handle all this, how we handle on construction, about quality, about safety, about planning, and about everything else. We have to contemplate on that. Just writing this statement is not enough for me. We have to understand what contract is. For that we have to go to contract first. Can we go to contract and understand what is contract? Everybody is unable to understand contract, but it's not question of everybody. We have to understand contract. That is very important point. Just like we understood technical points, technical materials like GGBS, etc. You remember we had a lengthy talk on that. That must be very good point. You to understand that, and it's I think we should not take it lightly. We should not take it lightly. We should take it in a sense that it works well. I think this contract I had somewhere. That's the point, means I waste your time sometimes. I don't want to waste, but it happens. If I go there, I find Euro course, yes, it should be somewhere, maybe, I don't know what. Euro course, not in this, general, let us say general, Russian structural physics, and it is, you can say, it is first golden principle, and this is very red book. Let me show you red book first, and then we will go to silver book, so that you can understand red book first. I'll open this. That is first Physics construction contract, second edition 2017. It is red book 1. Let's see first of all. I'm just showing you this because it's not a small document, it's a big document. And this, if it is updated one or no, I don't know. It is year 2017. It may be later on also. Let's say 2017 itself. What I'm trying to say is that this is a contract, general contract for construction. It gives a lot in this. This unit says that notes. I'm not interested in, there are certain sequences of principal events during contract for construction, and that is time of completion is to be stated. That's very important point. time for completion is to be stated in contract data we are talking of as number of days to which is added whatever extension of time under refer clause 8.5 in order to indicate sequence of events. Diagram is given here based upon examples of contractor failing to comply with this requirement of 8.2. Then there is defect notification period requirement, and then whatever depending on works and tests completion is required. So we'll go into that. Let's understand what this contract says. What does this contract says? First we have to understand actually index of this, contents of this. What contents are? There's one general provision. General provision in contract applies to whole contract. And here it says that definitions. It defines various titles. Then there are interpretations, how we interpret this contract. There's notices and other communications. Then there's law and language question. Then how to understand documents, how to give values to these documents, authority to these documents, and that's called priority of documents. Which documents are more powerful than other one? Top powerful or top authorized documents, number one, and then second and third is number two, like that. There may be 8 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 types of documents, which all documents constitute as contract documents. So laws, language is there, then priority of documents, then contract agreement, which these are all explained, then assignments. It's not alphabetically here, and then care and supply of documents, and the late drawings or instructions, and employer's use of contractor's documents. You can say contractor's use of employer's documents, then confidentiality clause, then compliance with laws, joint and several liability, limitation of liability, and then contract termination. Then for employer is given, about employer it is given, what is that? A right of access to site, because it's sites of employer after all. There's no question, no right is given. What assistance we have to give to employer. Then there are personnel of employer and other contractors who are all we have to think of and give, understand. Employer's financial arrangements, that's very important. We have to know that employer has money, and site data and items of reference. Then the employer's supplied materials and employer's equipment. Then there's a role of engineer in construction contract. That is what is the engineer as defined. Engineer's duties and authorities is defined. What are duties of engineer? Here when we talk engineer, it doesn't mean every engineer. It means engineer who is responsible for this project, for design of project, for construction of project, and for every act on this project. That engineer has to play a role of in charge of project. It's very important. Then duties and authority of engineer. Engineer's representative, why we call engineer's representative, that's point here. Then delegation by engineer. And also there are engineer's instructions, documents. There are replacement of engineer, agreement of determination, meetings, etc. We have to consider this. Then we have to say contractor's general obligations now. We are talking of contractor, which is a real party in fact. If contractor doesn't exist, you cannot do project. Yes, you can do yourself, but I don't think people have that much courage. Engineers are quite capable to take responsibilities, to work for public on their own, considering themselves engineer as well as contractor. But it doesn't happen. I did not see happen on major projects. Contractors are considered important for that. Reason being that contractors are professional, they should be professional. When we say contract, means contract, professional contractor, it doesn't mean everybody. But are they professional? Question of consideration is that. Are they really professionals whom we grant contract? Yes, if that person is experienced, that person is, that person knows contracts, if that person understands contract impact or value of contract, if that person understands how fast can work be done and what benefit can be drawn, if that person understands quality issues, safety issues, and all other issues, means this person who is his contractor must have certain persons with him who are qualified, educationally qualified, experience-wise qualified engineers, depending on what sort of project is. If it's dominating civil, and civil engineers should be there as a contractor in charge. If there are so many others, so you can say contractor is a big gun, is a big cannon, if you take it in a positive approach, because term we have spoiled. When we say contractor, people think it's a robber, people think it's corrupt. This is misconception. Contractor is a professional contractor. That contractor takes responsibilities according to contract data. So we say contractors' general obligations, then performance security is very important one. Performance security. This contractor's representative we talk of, contractor's documents we talk of. Then we say training. You have to do training for everybody. And then cooperation. Cooperation means without cooperation, contracts can't be conducted, can't be carried out. This is not, you can say, personal cooperation. This is not a level of cooperation where you think, okay, I cooperate now and I don't cooperate tomorrow. It doesn't mean that. First of all, this is, you can say, cooperation that should work between all parties, means parties, that is contractor and employer. It's most important cooperation. And other one is based on their information, based on information provided to certain guy, me one on contracting, how to handle this cooperation, how to do cooperation is a very important, significant one. It's very important and regular application in contracting. We should digest something or we should not digest something, it depends. So cooperation and setting out, about surveys I'm talking, setting out surveys. Then health and safety obligations are very important. Health, safety, environment and ergonomics. If health and safety we cannot maintain, how can we live? Points that. How can we live? If we don't follow housekeeping, we don't follow personal keeping, we don't follow something like that, we may say that health and safety obligations are a must. I have no right to let somebody being killed because of what, or because of negligence. But I know that I have to be responsible in that case. When I do duty, I transport my meter from home to office or from office to home. It's a very important point of health and safety. Then quality issue, quality organization or management as a written, and compliance verification system. Then we can say site data. There's contact data and here's site data. Use of site data, which must be recorded somewhere. It can both parties agreement, and this site data cannot be published. And if it's published, it should be extracted one. So Then come sufficiency of accepted contract amount. Sufficiency of accepted contract amount means whatever price you have agreed with, this should be enough to do job without any problem. That's called sufficiency of amount. And this also means that whatever is included on contract and whatever expenses are expected of contract, whoever trial is there, this must be stopped. Then we come on to sufficiency of accepted contract amount and unforeseeable physical conditions which also mark physical progress. Then we can say unforeseeable physical conditions and rights of way and facilities. Then avoidance of interference. This is all in contracting, It's all in contracting. Avoidance of interference, access routes and transport of goods, then contractors' equipment, protection of environment, temporary utilities, progress reports, security of site, contractors' operations on site, then archaeological and geological findings. Same we can say subcontracting, subcontractors, nominated subcontractors. Subcontractors are direct support to contractor and not to employer. And we can say then staff and labor or workers. There are about 20 chapters. I'm just going to give you some information about what these contain so that you keep in mind what's required and what's not required. We say in staff and workers. We call staff and labor or workers. That is engagement of staff and workers, and rates of wages and conditions of workers, recruitment of persons and labor statutes or labor laws, their working hours, facilities for staff and workers, health and safety of personnel, contractor superintendents and contractors personnel, contractors records, we say disorderly conduct and key personnel. All descriptions of this are available. We'll look into that because we are talking of construction, physical construction, which cannot be done in air but on some references. Whatever we do, we have to do some regulations, some rules, some acceptance. Within that ambit only we can do. It's not personal choice, it's contract choice. It's contract charter. Contract in fact is a charter. These contents of charter are agreed by both parties to contract, and that is employer and contractor. Under, of course, supervision of engineer, who is not a party to contract, but an independent party or independent person or third party, you may say. So here plant, materials and workmanship then comes in contracting. Without plant, without materials, no work can be done. Material and plant, and of course, we say personal. Nothing can be done. This is a very important point. We have to be very clear about that, which we are not. Now we say manner of execution. Manner of execution. Then samples, inspection, testing by contractor, defects and rejection, remedial works, ownership of plant and materials, and royalties. Then next comes in commencement, delays and suspension. This is very much complicated chapter because of delays and because of suspension and of course commencement. Commencement of work we have to talk of. Then time for completion. What is that? I explained to you. Program or schedule, advance warning. Then extension of time for completion, which is also a very big issue. Every day counts on big projects. 1 day delay means maybe you can say delay in production of plant or factory, which means impacts on economy. There will be thousands of contracts moving in a country, and if there is extension of even 1 day for all, it costs a lot. It's embarrassment. And there's delays caused by authorities and rate of progress, then delay damages, employer suspension, and then consequences of employer suspension. Then there is payment for plant and materials after employer suspension, and prolonged suspension and resumption of work. When we say after this, it's called contractor's obligations. This test on completion we call it, tests on completion, which means contractor's obligations, delayed test and retesting, failure to pass test on completion, and after that we can say employer has to take over site once works are over. So what happens? We can say in that taking over works and sections, taking over parts, interference with tests on completion, surface requiring reinstatement. Defects after this we take defects after taking over. Defects after taking over, completion of outstanding work and remedying defects. Cost of remedying defects, extension of defects notification period, and failure to remedy defects. Remedying of defects, work off-site, further tests after remedying defects, and right of access after taking over. Contractor to search, performance certificate, unfulfilled obligations, clearance of site. You see how many clauses are there. That's important here to understand. Chapters and clauses. So chapters itself is a clause, you can say. Measurement and valuation. Measurement and valuation. Works to be measured. Method of measurement. Valuation of works. Omissions. Variation and adjustments. Variations and adjustments. Right to vary. Value engineering. Variation procedure. Provisional sums. Day work. Adjustments for changes in loss. Adjustments for changes in cost. And we have to see contract price and payment. Contract price and payment. Contract price and advance payment. Application for interim payment. Schedule of payments. plant and materials intended for works, issue of intermittent payment certificate, payment, delayed payment, release of retention money, statement at completion, final statement, discharge, issue of final project completion or payment certificate, issue of final payment certificate, cessation of employer's liability, currencies of payment. Then contract price, this is chapter contract price and payment. We have done it. Now we go to termination by employer. You see, this is not job termination. This is not you are employed somewhere. Your termination, that's very, very simple. Termination of employees and termination of project are different words. We are talking of termination by employer. Then that termination is to contractor. Contract is terminated. It's called. Now, for that, you have to notify to correct something done wrong. And termination for contractor's default. If you don't work according to contract, you have no right and we can terminate you. Then valuation after termination for contractor's default, payment after termination for contractor's default, and termination for employer's convenience, and valuation after termination for employer's convenience. Payment after termination for employer's convenience. Then suspension and termination by contractor. See, both ways it is. Suspension and termination by contractor. Suspension by contractor, termination by contractor. Contractor's obligations after termination, payment after termination by contractor. Then this care of works and indemnities, responsibility for care of works, liability for care of works, intellectual and industrial property rights, indemnities by contractor, indemnities by employer, shared indemnities. After that, exceptional events. Exceptional events. This can be defined as IPL. What do you say? In this case, well, go that way. Exceptional events. Notice of an exceptional event. Duty to minimize delay. Consequences of an exceptional event. Optional termination. Release from performance under law. Then insurance. General requirements. Insurance to be provided by contractor. And then employers and contractors claims for payment and payment or EOT, extension of time. Then disputes and arbitration, which is very important word of contract extension or new contract, you can say. Actually, it's different type of contract. Which the middle is in this file, but it's different one. Constitution of DAAB. This is called dispute avoidance and adjudication board. Failure to appoint dispute avoidance and adjudication board members and avoidance of disputes, avoidance you can say avoidance of disputes and obtaining DAAB decision, amicable settlement, and then arbitration, failure to comply with DAB's decision, no DAB in place. So these are, then there is appendix to this in this general conditions of dispute avoidance and the further extensions of this. So we have gone through these 20 clauses and then dispute and arbitration. This is very important part in world of construction. We have taken this in our constant consideration because we have to understand physical construction, and physical construction cannot be understood just by sight. It has to be understood in terms of documents, and top document is contract document. That was reason that I tried to show you what document should be or is, and we will discuss that in length in this cell we link to, because a project that has to go for say 2 years, 3 years or 4 years, you cannot sometime just pass time. We have to understand technically, we have to understand contractually, and we have to understand engineering wise what's good for us. We should not jump on this statement. We have to understand this very clearly, and I will leave it now for a few minutes to let you read yourself again what is this construction, so that we can talk of this at length. It's not so easy, it's difficult to comprehend what we are talking of. It's not that easy as we think of. It's very much complicated. We should understand that point. Just go for 5 minutes and come back, then we'll take up this issue. So construction is very big business, very big problem. We cannot do anything without construction, and construction, you can say, it's whole part of life. Without construction we cannot do anything. That's also true. Construction is a part of our life. Physical construction is not simply construction of buildings or structures. It's construction of life, that we should say. It's construction of, once we have done mobilization, permanent works can start. There's a difference between permanent work and temporary work. Generally these two are very common terms, permanent works and temporary works. And then there is another term that's called preparatory works. Temporary works support all permanent works, and you can say temporary works support all preparatory works, and preparatory works support all permanent works, and permanent works support project, and project supports operations, and operations support life. Operation or occupation. Either it is operation or it's occupation, or both you can say use. So it's a kind of sequence in construction world, that it starts from temporary works, which means mobilization, supporting arrangements to preparatory works, all kinds of supporting arrangements, and preparatory works means works which lead to permanent work. This is what we have to understand. And permanent works means there is no permanent work as one or two. Permanent works are all which permanently become part of project forever. Project which, though it contains permanent work, but project itself is not permanent, because it has to go to either to operation world, or it has to go to occupation world, or you can say for which it is meant, use, residential, commercial, institutional, or you may say whatever, where product is not delivered but use is taken. You can say occupation is allowed, and other project where you can say production is allowed, operation is allowed. So both have different senses. Where there is no product, there is no operation, that is, people stay there or materials stay there. Temporary works are many temporary works. You can say access to some area, ingress we call it, or exgress from that area, or we can say work of dewatering, for example. The work of dewatering, where there is plenty of water in ground, which causes obstruction to work of excavation and further activities. Whatever soil it could be, dewatering is very important in case there is water table very high. There is no way that we can carry out activities in wet areas or in stream area, or you can say laminar flow area or turbulent flow area. Water table has to be lowered, and it has to be lowered until we come out of foundation. So we can say dewatering is to be done, dewatering in clay soil or dewatering in sandy soil or whatever sort of soil it is. Dewatering which may be by well point system or by submersible pump system. Both are temporary works, and these remain in operation and continuation for time until foundation come. So it may take 2 months, 3 months, or 1 month, depending on quantity of work. Similarly, I say ingress to site, egress from site, or used to say if it's long excavation or full excavation or long trench, we have to provide safety means like ladders, aluminum ladders at not more than 8 meters from one point to other. That's also called temporary works. Though it's safety means, but it's temporary. We provide sometimes supports to site from getting subsidized. Means sites can subsidy depending on what sorts is. We have to stop that by shoring or by some other arrangement. That's also temporary work. And we have to move from there. We have to do, you can say, prepare shutterings of formwork, which shall be used for creation of permanent work or production permanent work, but later on taken out. So that is, or whatever supports we provide to those shutters, whatever tie bolts or whatever we do, so that these shutters remain in position until concrete is poured and hardened. Temporary work it is called. Whereas fabrication and cutting and bending of steel bars is an item which is left in concrete forever. It cannot take out, we cannot take out. So steel fixing is a permanent work, just like concrete is a permanent work. Preparation, I can say making and remaking, and you can say making, remaking and fixing and deshuttering of these all come under category of preparatory works. There may be many more preparatory works in you can say in fabrication of steel itself. In yard we do preparatory works, but while installed on site it's not preparatory works. While fabrication in yard is not preparatory works. To some extent, very small element of it can be called preparatory work. But the steel is installed on shutters which are preparatory works. Concrete element is not preparatory work, it is permanent work. Curing is also permanent work. So permanent work is supported by preparatory work, is supported by temporary work. Scaffolding system is temporary work, or props if you provide, that is temporary work, or wooden ballis people are providing, that's also temporary work or preparatory work. Then you provide access to site, access to area where you pour concrete, that's also temporary work, which are removed from site for other activities to go. Those we can say are temporary works. So every item does not have preparatory works, but there are preparatory works. Scaffolding system or to support formwork of slab is a kind of temporary work, but to support preparatory work. Similarly, wherever shutters come, formwork comes. It has same meaning. In concrete floor, or you can say block work, concrete block work, or you can say, you may say brick work or stone work, or whatever work we can say that is permanent work. Electrical conduits fixing is permanent work. Then you can say also, if you insert something in walls, it's permanent. If you form cavity in wall, it's permanent. So there is long definition in all items. What do we understand? What should we understand of that? So we can say these we have to start for construction, and it's not joke. It takes some time, and it's not a primary kid like work. So physical construction has many modes. This paper doesn't give everything, but everything cannot come to mind. There's so many issues, so many items are immense, many, and we don't even remember them. Just like we don't remember what sort of sewage line, what sort of pipe with that, and what sort of flow of this through system, which velocity is working. We can see concrete and other equivalent concrete work, stone work, masonry work, or you may say curing, whatever you do for permanent work is physical construction. Temporary work is not physical construction. Preparatory work is not physical construction. Physical construction that cannot be removed. We have to understand that point. We can't remove that one. Contract, when we price for, we include all these items in various BOQs or bill of quantities that constitute part of contract. We include all these prices, all these items. Though BOQ is not legal document, but it's supportive document. Therefore I say, after having mobilization been completed, time comes for permanent works. To commence permanent works for which actual contract is meant for ultimately. Though contract includes temporary work cost, it includes preparatory work costs, it includes administrative work cost, it includes everything. There is nothing left in lump sum world, something to be done. It's done that way. It's definite that civil discipline construction leads generally on all projects. Leader we call it. It leads because it starts everything. It starts. No engineer exists there other than civil when you think of new site, new work. Even there's no technology, but your construction is available. You can prolong that and government can give extension because this work was not awarded. That point you have to understand. So you can say construction leads generally on all projects. So availability of all drawings, construction drawings is a must in that case. Availability of all designs, all drawings, all documents, everything, all workers, all staff, whatever are required, all resources, we have to correctly prosecute works. That's important. What is correctly, that is also a we have to say that sooner commencement means better perspective to save project time and money. When we call off designs drawing, all supervisors, engineers for this purpose must prosecute. Every leader on site should endeavor plans with support of schedules, engineer to keep at least in line with approved program and if not advanced program. We must have natural resources, necessary resources it should be made available if properly coordinated. Every activity should be coordinated with its own friends, its own colleagues, its own chapter, as well as with drawings and also how to work on site. That's we call generally method statement. When design also matters, should be properly coordinated to keep in line to facilitate easy construction. There may be a case when due to some unavoidable circumstances some portion of contract cannot be prosecuted, then leader should immediately find an alternative portion to replace held portion. Civil engineering part of contract is not that easy because it requires basic works on site involving tradespersons, a semi and unskilled workforce along with material on site. Therefore, those people who deal on site, those engineers should keep in mind that you are dealing with all classes of people. You are dealing with people from lowest profile to highest engineers and administrators, scientists, engineers and administrators. What we say, a well-coordinated approach is very much essential, for there could be many instances of mistakes. We have to take many side decisions. It can be wrong also. So, if you want to make such decisions, they should be within limits. Coordination is a must. Thorough understanding of drawings is a must. Thorough knowledge of specifications must. These are three words: drawings, detailing, technical knowledge, and about specifications, and whatever else good practice we have to keep into our consideration. All technicalities which must be affected so that requirements are met. It's all field engineering business I'm talking. Field engineering is a complex engineering. It's not what I say is right or what you say is right. Work must be done in whatever way, but it should be quality oriented. Quality oriented means quality system oriented and effective. Whatever work is done should be in conformance to whatever was expected. Should be more than that. But if it doesn't work, there's always a question mark. Why it's not? It gives a negative impression of engineer dealing with this. After all, why I could not achieve what was expected to achieve? People don't ask that much, but it's not people what they ask. If engineers ask themselves, I think there is no stupidity as engineers think of. Every engineer must be smart enough to have common sense, and particularly common sense. Once we understand physical construction, how we have to do it, then we can chart out many method statements on that. I think. Then we have to think of, after all, why we are so serious? Yes, construction invites your seriousness. If you are not serious, you can't construct. You may construct, but that will not be worth. That point is very important here. Worth construction is a must, not simply construction. It is very easy sometimes to explore like that, but not always. You can say construction is very different field, and we should think of contract, and then we come on to other part of this, and we can say I was talking of, in this case, let's go to I have to find out. have discussed before, if you remember, I discussed before role of site engineers and project management. If we tick off project management here, you will find that we discussed about something which is very important. Not long back, it was recently discussed, and we discussed in this. What we discuss is project's requirement, reasons, and we discussed project management concept and its necessity. We discussed a brief project management and a brief analysis to understand how to integrate project plans with required knowledge areas. Then when we said brief analysis to understand how to integrate project plan with required knowledge areas, structural sequences of project management knowledge areas requirement, risk response plans, communications, initiation, planning, and then we can say client or owner, then bidder, of course, tenderer. And we have to take a role of, in this case, client or owner, bidder, tenderer, and execution or implementation process. Communication channels or processes, involvement by all relevant parties. Monitoring and update, continuous process during project life cycle. Lessons learned from mistakes and incorrect decisions. Completion or closing of administrative controls. This was interesting management paper, which is of course very interesting. We had long discussions on this, and if you want to see it again, link, you can say this is project requirement reasons. All operating units, organizations, business need of commercial houses, the customers' requests for modifications, and technological advance and growth. Then legal requirements of implementation of law, and social needs fulfillment. These are very important points that I go further. Let me see how I am refreshing this, because this is very important to refresh. You cannot take it for just granted, but I have to understand facts. When you see social needs fulfillment, actually now have gone to further other this, then we can say project management concept and its necessity, in which we defined what is project management, what is concept, what is professional engineering, and various project management or organization. I mean, what do I understand by profession of project management or organizational discipline? When there are various points like which are very important, that is scope. That's number one is scope. Just like say scope of work. What is the scope of my organization? What is quality? This is our point. Quality, as I'm saying, which is in the start of this, and that is very important point. Quality, which is a quality everywhere, and this also here in my understanding of, you can say, project, and we say what is quality. So scope is of course a name, like what we have to do and how we have to do, and that is quality. Number one, we have to understand those. After scope, so scope is general, which depends on what work we have to do. Quality, number one, it says it's followed with time and cost, because if quality is, and that proportion means cost. So we can say quality is proportional to time, and time is proportional to cost, and all these three have to be considered in spirit of resolving risks which are very important on every project. Even before decision of project, risks can be considered, and during prosecution of project, risks can be considered. Different type of risks in both stages. Then human resources involvement, without which nothing can move, not even a single pin can move without considering human resources. And procurement, when I say human resources, means all resources. Resources means all resources. That is human resources, machine resources or equipment resources, material resources, or reference resources. Reference means plans, quality plan, safety plan. We have to do all that. And of course, these resources we are talking of, procurement of those resources, because without procurement you cannot bring to sight these resources. And then all these are linked with a method, linked with a domain, linked with certain reality of life. And that is, one cannot keep silent. One has to speak. If one has to, tell something, otherwise it's not easy to understand what's in your mind until either you can writing, and it's difficult to read all these papers every day. So you can say communication is a system. We call them communication plan. Communication plan says officially who has to communicate to whom and why. Who has to communicate to whom and copy to whom, for automatic understanding that this communication has come to you, and you will also learn this. So communication plan can be understood to be very primitive but still modern, very modern. Communication can be not even 100% writing now, but by video recording or by some other method, communication is still there. It doesn't go away. So we have to keep this point in mind, that scope, quality, time, cost, risks, human resources, procurement, communication plans, etc. And you can say brief analysis to understand how to integrate project plan with these required knowledge areas. That's further detailing in this. So you can say, in fact, project organization is defined briefly as exercise of doing total prospective processes applicable for years to deliver agreed objectives to end user, consumer or client or owner of project. Project is defined as a temporary plan or scheme for a generally permanent existence of some or whatever specific objective for a certain and specific purpose or services. So we can understand this that way. Now there are so many projects, you can say, in our industry. So many combinations are there which are not very specific, but let us understand as engineer so that everybody knows what we are having concept in mind. It is that we call client, or sometime we call government. Generally government is client, but it's not necessary that always government is client. Private owners, and you can say like that, international and national organizations. Then there are projects like this, in industry. Then there are projects like security related projects, defense related projects, local self-government bodies like municipalities, like authorities, like panchayats. Then there are statutory companies, which companies means established by law are called statutory companies. You know the definition of statutory companies. Whatever companies is formed by law, and registered companies means those companies which are formed by Registration Act. You can say government companies, private public partnership, then non-government organizations, NGOs we call them. They may be statutory or non-statutory. You can say petrochemical industries, heavy industries, industries of all sorts, real estate, housing for all sorts, housing of all sorts, commercial, institutional, contracting companies, private companies or entities, private promoters, private individuals. So what sort of projects we want to do actually, that's also important. Let us say government project organizations, you can say as a client is government, as awarding authority to contract is government. Government is a promoter, government is a self through department. Organizations, executing self either as promotion, it's a departmental works you can say. So it's different type of, it's not interestable, you can say. There are so many requirements in this. Important points are stages. What are stages in project? The stage that you initiate that project, start that project. You have to plan that project. You have to then, after planning, execute activities, or you can say it's all that are done, that are required to be done. It's initiation, planning, execution, implementation, monitoring, updates, completion and closing out, followed by maintenance and operation. And you can say structure, sequence of project management, and that is also very important. We start with scope charter. The scope charter, decision making stage about whatever project, charter authorization that we call it. Then quality standards to be achieved on deliveries. Sorry. Quality standards to be achieved on deliveries, and then we have to say time significant factor governing project stages, and then you can say cost affecting all parties involved on project, And then risk factors affecting all above. That is, risk factors affecting all above. And it says that scope, quality, time, and cost do affect project by impact of certain risks. All such risks should be anticipated in advance for reaching and applying preventive actions or solutions. Preventive actionable solutions are not available. 100% risk responsive methods of plan should be produced after having understood details posed by indicated or considered critical risks. Certain risks may be considered as indicated below. That could be risk impacts due to change in scope. That's an important point. Change in scope. Risk impact due to change in scope. Then risk impacts due to changes in quality standards. Then risk impacts due to changes in schedule time. Risk impacts due to changes in cost. And risk impacts due to partly unknown scope. Then risk response plan. Risk response plans, risk management plan. Human resources affecting cost, time, manpower, quality standards. Human resources affecting cost, time, manpower, quality standards. Here is cost element scope, then required plans, move and move out, move in and move out, and motivation, mobility, procurement, deliveries of material and equipment, and then communication, plus transparency, conferencing, electronic medium, who should get it, most significant part on project, manager's role, responsibilities, communication, foremost job in management. Without communication, nothing can move. It may be organization, it may be engineering, it may be sciences, or it may be whatever else. Without communication, you cannot talk to others. It may be written communication or it may be verbal communications, both are important. When there is, you can say, more than 1 year, 2 year project, 3 years project, there will be many hands changing one point to other point, and there will be many engineers. It's impossible to find them dedicatedly to work many years on one project. So those people must work upon communication, which is a very important part. It should record it correctly. And should say communication, you can say transparency, conferencing, electronic medium, and most significant part in project role, project manager's role. Then you should say project stages of process include, again I said, as initiation, planning, execution or implementation, monitoring and updates, completion or closing, and administrative controls, followed by maintenance. These are all there, and we have to move further. In initiation, we say initial charter. Project's initial charter, which is a very important document, which can be reviewed by whosoever comes to that project. That person can know, that authority can know why we got this project, what's the reason, and what is history behind that. That must be completely known to move forward. And we can say planning, development of project process. Plan major processes, constituents. Without planning, knowledge, areas, integration, development plan, and project stages or processes include, which is the continue. Then you can say we call it client or owner, what that person thinks when meeting deadlines to release bid documents, what tender or bidder does for both are first party and second party respectively, because client or owner is first party and bidder or tender becomes second party after this one. Then you can say project stages of processes include. It's very simple. It says initiation, planning, process, and it has to be understood very well. Process stages, which are, again I say, initiation, planning, execution, implementation, monitoring, updates, completion or closing, administrative controls, followed by maintenance, execution or implementation. Also affect both parties, by both parties. Execution and implementation process. Then there are various issues, execution and implementation process, how it works, what happens there. There's a contract, meeting deadlines to submit various deliverables as part of contract performance, and then you can say another portion, the complete, this is for stages of monitoring and updates, and then there is deliverables, work changes sector we'll discuss, revised time schedule, communication to client, lessons learned, past mistakes, incorrect design. We'll go to lessons learned here. This very brief statement down. So what are areas that we have refreshed in this? You can say projects requirements, initiations, charters, planning, execution, like that. It's a very small talk here. Project cannot be taken for granted, that's one point, and we should know that fact. We should know that fact. This document is very old, it can be revised anytime, but still I'm not revising it. It could be revised, but let me see if I can show you immediately something else also. Because as much as we know, there's also role of site engineers, as you can say. So we have to see this role which we talked of about what site engineer should do actually. It's very brief, not elaborate, but yet it is there. You can understand that. Role of site engineer. In this is defined site engineering. We define what is engineering. We define what is supervision, what is contract, and we define construction and who is there responsible. And engineer, what does engineer do, like that. We can say here site planning, various activities that we do, we have to see site planning, site mobilization, site surveying, site kickoff, construction quality supervision that we care about. So site planning, site mobilization, site surveying, kickoff, construction, quality, supervision. That we can say we define everyone here. Then definitions of various other items. What is backfill, sequences, construction. So this was the file that way. So just We'll discuss it also later on. We'll just show you how it moves in. The other one is interface management. Let us see. We also had to do this interface management facilitator. That is facilitator is interface management. And this is interface management. What is that? Interface management, it's a missing link of project organization for a long time. Currently it's not widely known what I mean in construction and what scopes covered by IM. That's interface management. In several constructions, IM definitions are introduced clarified as follows. You say in offshore construction industry, interface management is defined as management of common boundaries between people. Common boundaries between people, systems, equipment or concepts. This is common boundaries. In civil construction, two definitions for it. First is management of communication. Management of communication. It's very important part again. I say interface management, management of communication, coordination, management of communication, coordination and responsibility across a common boundary between two organizations, phases or physical entities which are interdependent. It's a very important point that number one says communication management, communication and coordination and responsibility. Communication, coordination and responsibility on a common boundary between two organizations or phases of physical entities which are interdependent. The second is problems. You have to manage problems that often occur among people. Managing problems that often occur among people, departments and disciplines, rather than within project team itself. Problems that often occur among people, departments and disciplines rather than within project team itself. Example being improvement of quality of physical connections between building components, include improvement of quality of physical connections between building components, reduction of project conflicts among project participants through planning and close coordination, and optimization of workplace organization, including people, resources and environment. Now this is lack of this one interface management, poorly coordinated and controlled boundary conditions among project entities cause various interface issues such as design errors, mismatched parts, mismatched parts, Can you say again that design errors, mismatched parts, systems performance failures, coordination difficulties, and construction conflicts. These issues not only impede smooth delivery of construction projects but also hinder industrialization of construction. And interface management now starts to catch attention from both industry and academia, and, and gradually become a critical area of project. There are already some projects that have achieved greater success by paying attention to interface management. Now, for example, in contrast to conventional contracts, which try to pass on risk to subcontractors, manager, project management at Heathrow Terminal 5 project adopted a different approach to maximize cooperation among suppliers and contractors for handling project complexity of an airport terminal. Now, and benefits the contractors at present, okay, at present, I can say understanding of interface issues is still superficial. Importance of it has not received wide acceptance. Application potential of IM to construction management organization and ultimate ways of incorporating interface management into whole construction process remains unclear. Nevertheless, benefits of IM are outstanding, and this research has summarized following IM benefits. That is, build a deep understanding of project complexity for project participation. Build a deep understanding of project complexity for project participation. Is you have to build understanding of proper project complexity for project participation, and optimize design. Optimize design in terms of quality, compatibility, constructability, cost, risk, function to meet customer needs. Improve project planning by avoiding, minimizing, or eliminating potential for interface issues in advance. So improve project planning means planning should be work implementable. Improve work packaging and subcontracting to reduce project complexity and to avoid congenital interface issues. Build and maintain desirable relationships and interaction channels among project participants to achieve timely communication, coordination, and cooperation. Standardize standardize handling processes and workflows for various types of interfaces in construction projects and reduce uncertainties. Enable a dynamic and well coordinated construction well project delivery system when responding to changes. Enable a dynamic and well coordinated construction project delivery system when responding to changes. Identify and record good practices. Identify and record good practices in dealing with project complexity and reapply them in future projects. After reviewing research work, we found that IM strategies or tools are limited and also inadequate for a holistic incorporation into construction world. It was noticed that IM benefits can greatly help applications of lean construction, and in terms of project complexity, it can help. Lean and APM can also improve IM to some degree. Thus, it's good approach to incorporate IM with these two emerging philosophies in following while reviewing lean construction and APM in more than detail. We present how IM can facilitate these applications. Lean construction. Lean production philosophy originated in Japan. Is originated in Japan in 1950s and then spread to other countries. Its basic idea is to keep production system and organization simple and avoid wastage. Compared with agile, lean is more appropriate for efficiency and cost cutting, while lean production philosophy originated in Japan in 1950s, and it's better to give efficiency and make cost cutting while aging is means can say lean means keep production system and organization simple and avoid wastage. In comparison to agile, lean is more appropriate for efficiency and cost cutting while still meeting customer needs. Typical lean strategies include total quality control. That's lean strategy, total quality control. So when I'm talking about quality control, it's total quality control, just in time, and visual organization, visual management, re-engineering, employee involvement, multi-skilled and or self-directed teams, designed for assembly and manufacturability, etc. I repeat, lean means you can say simply organized in simple way and avoid wastage. Lean is appropriate and efficient because it includes total quality control, means just in time is important, visual organization, visual management, re-engineering, employee involvement, multi-skilled and self-directed teams designed for assembly and manufacturability. Now, theories and technique. In literature, there are two major contributions concerning lean construction, and those are from Lowry, Koskela. Understand construction as a series of value adding and non-value adding activities. Contributes to transformation flow value theory. Construction is a continuous flow of materials and of information instead of only conversion activities. You can say this principle simplicity define flow process problems such as complexity, in transparency and segment control. Other contribution is last planner, focusing on construction process. This method employs 3 steps: a master schedule, identifying all work packages and their sequence for job in general, what should be done. Other is 5 to 8 weeks look ahead plan, ensuring sound work packages for which all constraints are removed. What can be done? And last planner, that is last planner, a weekly work planning specifying what will be done at job site. At last step, technique of PPC, that's percentage plan completed, a tool measuring plan reliability, is used. Last planner has proved to be very useful tool for organization of construction processes, monitoring of planning efficiency, stabilization of workflows, and improvement of productivity. Although these two contributions have achieved great accomplishments, their application still faces some difficulties. Use of just-in-time logistics in construction, unreliable work planning compromises benefits of efficient material flows, resulting poor project performance counteracts advantages of lean applications. Main challenges to lean construction are explored. Now, what are challenges? Biggest challenge for lean is combined effect of dependence and variation in construction as well as projects complexity. To manage these issues, new forms of planning and control are required. Measuring and improving planning system performance is key for enhancing work flow reliability. Now, changing how work is structured early in design as well as organization and function of both master project plan and look ahead process are required to bring workflow and production and control. It's also difficult to ensure close coordination and reliable work flow. It's also difficult to ensure close coordination and reliable workflow among people in construction. Human issues are emphasized in lean construction. Lean construction initiates shift in coordination from centralized push to decentralized pull and deems that communication and close coordination is a way to help people understand uncertainties and smoothly move in face of these uncertainties. As indicated, people in construction lack language and conceptual foundation. Lack language and conceptual foundation to understand those physical issues concerning underlying physics of production, effect of dependence on variation along supply and assembly chains, issues of organization and contract can only be resolved after physics of production has been taken care of. In addition, cooperation is very difficult since each project participant is temporarily involved in a construction project. Now, what can IM offer lean construction? IM has a close relationship with lean construction. It can improve lean applications in following aspects. It can greatly enhance people's understanding of physics of production as well as complexity of construction. Most important area of IM is management of physical interfaces. It builds its management and control upon following comprehensive understanding: how pieces are related to each other and how they are connected, what are interface attributes, what are appropriate operations and methods for handling interfaces, what resources are needed and how they are organized on job site, what are responsibilities for involved parties. It aims to create interface databases that provide comprehensive interface information for design and construction, and also to employ advanced IT tools for more effective and efficient interface management. IT tools for more effective and efficient interface organization and control. Its strategy ameliorates current practice dependent on executives' personal knowledge and experience in understanding and handling project complexity, and therefore yields higher performance, especially as today's construction industry is increasing use of factory-made components and subsystems, which are new to many designers and field people. Delivery schedule addressed in last planner is not only thing that needs to be managed. Material or components arriving on time do not assure a smooth production if they are not compatible with each other. With the help of IM, With help of IM, the last planner do not have to be knowledgeable construction people who would have to know exactly what construction resources, methods, interface are required. Secondly, I can improve construction processes as well as reduce various types of waste. Successful IM eliminates or minimizes potential interface issues in lean application. Taking last planner is one example. This method focuses much on detailed weekly work planning based on master schedule, which defines work packages and their sequences. Last planner does not emphasize a system approach in project planning and scheduling, particularly for master schedule. Actually, how those work packages are structured is directly related to project complexity. Currently, most widely employed form of work structure is work breakdown structure. With WBS, this method has been criticized because it divides the interrelated building elements into distinguished works packages being separately awarded to subcontractors. According to inappropriate workplace, work packaging or subcontracting results in an excessive amount of interdependencies among work packages and large number and complexity of interface in a project, thus increases the likelihood of delays. In such proposes a functionality based on work breakdown structure. Basic strategy here is allocating work packages and subcontracting without breaking complex interfaces into different contracts, resulting in interface friendly subcontracting. This greater descriptive minimizes congenial interface issues which master schedule probably has. Otherwise, it would become extremely difficult for 5-8 weeks look ahead plan and weekly work planning to avoid or correct some upcoming conflicts or project failures due to poor work structure. I'm trying to give this very important part here. We'll discuss agile project management also. Agile thinking, manufacturing and project organization has evolved since 1990. These are different. Agile manufacturing and PM are different in many researchers' points of view. While former mainly deals with production, later has achieved great progress in information systems industries. Agile are all stemmed from management science of Deming, which has made great success in Japan industries. Differentiated from lean production, agile management focuses on how to respond to constant changes, to adopt proficiency in unpredictable environment. This can only be accomplished through well-established and maintained relationship between customer, manufacturer and suppliers. We'll take up this also later on because it's very much related to you can say our construction field, and we'll take up this seriously. It cannot be taken up in just you can say fashion of without understanding. It can be taken like that. We have to take it in that spirit. We will take that up, right? And we can say now thank you very much, I should say. What else I can say in this case? It has been